having good financial records that you review regularly so that when you get to the end of the year, you're not looking at a number thinking, oh, that doesn't look right. One client looking at owner's distributions, that line item. In an earlier podcast, we talked about that's how you kind of pay yourself.
Yep.
It's on the balance sheet. And when you're preparing your taxes, they're doing a comparison, prior year, current year. So if owner's distributions went up a lot in the current year, then that's looking like you made a lot of money. Why are we sitting here at the end of the year and you're like, I don't know what's in this number. Why is this number so high? Because you didn't have the right people helping you with your financial statements. Again, these financial statements should be reviewed by you regularly.
That's right.
So that it's not a fire drill at the end of the year trying to figure out what's in here that should be in another account. So maintaining good, solid financials that you review on a regular basis makes tax season so much easier.
And as we said in a previous podcast, your financial statement preparation is first for you. Then it's for any loans, lines of credit to investors. Then it's for taxes, right? So you first did it for you, and you should be tracking it all year for running your business and making sound decisions. So to the point that when you get to taxes, everything's there. Everything, there should be nothing but just for our clients who have been with us for a couple of years. All we're doing at the end of the year is doing that last December closing of their financials. We put together a little bit more year-long analysis, year-over-year analysis as part of just an overall financial package. And then the financials are ready.
Yep.
And so they are too, our CPA on the tax side, they're to them ready to go, right?
And there are no surprises.
And there's no surprises.
Yeah.
Because we've been going over it every single month. So it was just what happened in December.
Yeah, and then your tax CPA can then, instead of spending time trying to get your books right or questioning you about what they're seeing because it doesn't make any sense, they can actually spend more time on the tax law, assessing what your financial situation is, what new tax laws might benefit you, what other things you might want to consider doing to put yourself in a better tax position.
Right, going into next year.
Right, which also, you may need to take into account for investing as well as receiving loans, lines of credits, and things of that nature.
Right. Because even though you're not a big business, there are things that you can do to put you in the best light for success. And that's what we're trying to get to you.
Right.
Go ahead, Kimberly.
I find that a lot of businesses, they'll say, again, I'm not a tax accountant, but one of the things they want to know is, how can I pay fewer taxes in the future? And that goes back to April's point. If your finances are good and we've reviewed them, then your tax accountant doesn't have to spend a lot of time and charge you for trying to get your books right so that you can file. But they can be looking at, okay, how can we decrease your tax liability in the future? Because yes, we all have to pay taxes. The rich, the 1%, they know how to avoid it. And we, those of us that make less money, are supporting and paying for this infrastructure. But we all need to know an ethical way to decrease our tax liability.
All within the rules.
And it all goes,
And there's ways within the rules.
Yeah, within the rules. And it goes back to not waiting until the end of the year to prepare your financials for your taxes. Because the tax man is coming.
He's a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
Yes. And he doesn't go. It's like one of those relatives that
Overstays their welcome.
Or actually
or rash.
Just never leaves.
Right.
So you now have a roommate.
Right.
Or keeps coming back. Like,
Right.
he's never going to go anywhere. He's always going to be there. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And not only that, but I mean, they can look back at your tax returns for 10 years, okay? And if they see anything they consider irregular, I believe it's around 20%. Like if you misstate your tax return by 20% or more, that's considered fraud.
Jail.
And And when you commit fraud, I don't believe there's a deadline.
Yeah.
A time frame.
Right,
a time frame.
right.
Fraud is a different situation.
Yeah.
Okay. If you less than fraud, they have 10 years to circle back on your return and see whether or not they want to audit it or feel like, hey, maybe, let's take another look at this or ask for additional documentation. And keep in mind that everything you do, so for the most part, unless you slide money under the table,
And we're not doing
if
that.
you're all those tax documents, those W-2s, those 1099s, those K-1s, all of that stuff gets reported to the tax man. And so whether you file or not, they know it's there. And eventually, if you don't file, you're going to get a letter that says, hey, somebody told us you made $100,000. Okay. We need our money, honey.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it could be like years later. Because it's like taxi cab confessions. Like for my employer, they had accidentally sent in the wrong numbers for our it's like our 401k or something.
Okay.
I forgot what it was, like stock share or something like that. But they had sent in the wrong numbers. So they finally realized it because the IRS had contacted them, and then the IRS sent us individually. All got letters like, your stuff is wrong.
Ooh.
And it was like, so I got this letter that said back in this was like in maybe 24, and it was back from like 2020. And they were like, in 2020, this was incorrect, and so do you owe us more money? And so fortunately, the company had let us know, and we were able to give whatever paperwork the IRS was looking for. But that's to your point, April. They came back. I mean, it was years later.
Oh, yeah.
And just me, a little old filer with a W-2. So don't think that you won't be at some point. They may be today letting go a whole bunch of people, but there'll be other administration. They're gonna be all back,
Right.
And they can go back and get you.
Don't think that because they're trimming down the IRS, you don't have to pay your taxes.
Right.